Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode where I speak with Dr. Colleen Saringer, a blue-collar woman wrapped in a PhD package who's on a mission to stop work from hurting people. I do want to caution people that our topic does touch on mental health and suicide prevention and why it's such an important mission for her as she speaks to blue-collar workers and blue-collar business leaders across the nation, and why it's so important for her to bring this topic to a bigger audience. I hope some of this will resonate in terms of her journey and the importance of having those difficult conversations to ensure that our health and wellness are well cared for, and for those we lead. Welcome to The Leader Journey, a series within the Rooted Leader podcast, a space for honest stories of transition, courage, and becoming. Here I sit down with folks I've met along my own journey who've stepped away from the structure of corporate life to explore something more meaningful on their own terms. These paths are rarely linear, often messy. My hope is that these conversations help you feel a little less alone, spark some reflection, and maybe even give you the nudge to trust your own journey, wherever it's taking you. Because your next chapter doesn't have to be certain to be worth beginning. Hi, everyone. I am so happy today to have my friend, Dr. Colleen Saringer, with me. So welcome, Colleen.
Thank you.
I am so excited. We actually have never met in person, but Colleen and I met, I don't know how many years ago, on LinkedIn as a just part of solopreneurs connecting and responding to each other's posts and liking similar content. And I was so happy to get to know you a little bit better. So thank you for that.
No, thank you. I know. I think it's been since mid-2023 that we've been just chatting, interacting, all the things.
Yeah. I know. And you're very supportive of some of the questions I have on my learning journey, because you also have your PhD and did so in your career. So thank you for that advice. I just want to learn a little bit about and have the listeners learn a little bit about your journey, because as we know, it's not always easy. And you sort of explored and experimented to get to the point of where you are. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. So this is just a warning for others that our conversation today will involve suicide. And if that's something that is difficult for you, you may wish not to listen or to read the transcript. So just wanted to preface that. And I'm so thankful to Dr. Colleen for bringing this very important topic to workplaces and to LinkedIn. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let's just start, Colleen, with tell me about your leader journey now, where you are, and then we'll dive in a little bit and get a sense of how you got there. But just right now.
Yeah. So right now, where I am on my leader journey is I'm trying from a professional standpoint, I am trying to get on as many stages as I can to speak about suicide and the workplace. And specifically, I'll say suicide prevention, but is suicide prevention in a different format. In other words, when many hear that phrase, the thought is, how do I recognize the signs? What do we do post, suicide if one of our colleagues has taken their lives? And that is not what I'm doing. There are many amazing speakers out there that are doing that work. That's not the work that I'm doing. The work that I'm doing is the unfortunate reality that our workplaces can be one of the strongest reasons that we even went down the path of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and suicide. So the fancy term is psychosocial risk factors, but it's really work risk factors. So that's from a leadership standpoint. I am trying to gain as much authority as I can in that space so that I can get on as many stages as I can to make the impact that I'm looking to make.
Yeah.
And then if I could, I'd love to answer from a non-professional standpoint, just as a person.
They are both so important to who we are.
So I figured you'd appreciate that. So from a personal standpoint, I am just consistently trying to lead through my actions. I think you hear that so much, but when you're younger, it's just hard to understand what that means. And I am constantly trying to do my best to lead through kindness I've
Yes.
always been an individual that I'm the waiver in the neighborhood, as is my husband. I'm the person that's going to strike up a conversation in the home goods line, at the gas pump. It's just who I am. But I am trying to even be more verbal about that because it also does kind of transition. It ties into the work that I'm doing from a suicide prevention standpoint.
Right.
And so that's the other way that where I am today from a leader is just really trying to lean even deeper into kindness.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I love that journey for you. We had talked about you had a profession in health and wellness before. And so this sort of leans into that knowledge, but then takes it to steps that might not necessarily happen in the corporate setting. How do you envision the speaking that you're doing impacting your audience members? And who are your audience members what in those presentations?
Yeah. If you were to see me on LinkedIn or on my website, I use the phrase, I'm a blue collar woman wrapped in a PhD package.
Love that brand so much.
Thank you.
Colleen. When I
And
read it, I was like, that makes so much sense to me. You know, I'm a blue collar kid. So much of how we relate now makes so much sense to me.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I joke. So being from Ohio, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, but live in Atlanta, Georgia. I always say I bleed blue. And my husband's like, don't say that. Ohio State, Michigan, people are going to think
Oh, that's right.
like a funny, ha. Anyways, I'm like, I bleed blue collar. So that's exactly it. Like my parents owned a construction business. They opened it when I was 5. Sheet metal. My dad was a sheet metal worker. My mom and dad ran the business together. My husband is a construction business owner here. And so that the reason I answer it in that way and share my tagline is because I'm speaking to blue collar industries, specifically those that fall under the construction umbrella, but that doesn't exclude manufacturing or long haul trucks, right? Like that's still blue collar. And it's an industry that keeps the lights on. It keeps our world running.
That's right.
Yet we don't view the individuals that are doing these jobs in the same respectful fashion that we do someone that puts on a suit, goes to a law firm,
I sure
works
hope
at a
that
bank,
shift.
whatever it
Yeah.
is, right? Same. It's funny because I was just having a LinkedIn conversation today about I can remember someone made a comment about it being frowned upon to work in the blue collar industry. And I said, I can remember being younger and being made to feel embarrassed. My parents were wearing business casual before business casual even became a thing. You're not going to walk into a construction site or a shop with sheet metal blowing all over the place wearing a suit and a dress.
That's right.
You're going to wear what we call business casual now. Or my dad's pickup truck that I learned how to drive. That's how I learned how to drive, was in a pickup truck with metal bouncing all over. I can remember being so embarrassed by it because the world made you feel embarrassed about that. And then even fast forward in my life today with my husband, who owns a very successful roofing company, you'll see me leave in a dress and him leave in his blue jeans and a t-shirt. In the judgment is still there, and that's
Judgment is
just
still there. I mean, because we know how hard business ownership is. So it's actually, there's so many facets of that, but also it just being the heart of what so much of our country is built on. I hope that that perspective shifts. I really do, because it's important.
It is. And when I think about it from a suicide prevention standpoint, that perspective matters too,
Sure does.
in regards to the environment that I'm trying to change, the way we show up, the way we treat each other in the workplace. Because it's one of the things I see from this stage, we can't change the way roofing is done. We
Right.
can't change the way we lay new asphalt on your street. That's not going to change. It's not going to change in the cold. It's not going to change in the heat. But what we can change is how we show up, how we present ourselves from a leadership standpoint, how we present ourselves from a coworker standpoint, how we present ourselves in the car driving past the job site. That's suicide prevention. So anyways, it actually all kind of it all folds in.
What is the biggest aha for you as a presenter taking away from speaking to these audiences? For you, what is something that you've just been so taken aback by as a result of you starting this focus?
This may not be the answer that you think I'm going to say.
You go anywhere you want with it. I just, whatever comes to mind for you.
A few women are on stages as keynotes.
Wow.
So even when I think about this keynote that I did in February, I was the only woman in collaboration with my husband because I bring him on stage with me.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone else was a man. Even though it's a male-dominated industry, I respect that construction is a male-dominated industry. There's other perspectives that are important. And
That's
so, but even if you remove construction and just speaking in general, there's more men on stage than women, which is fascinating as a keynote, not as a workshop or a breakout, as a keynote.
That's right. That's very different. How do you feel the impact of what you're saying is received?
I use Talk It Out at the end of every one of my presentations so I can get feedback and things like that real time. And then, of course, there's nothing better than the verbal one-on-one conversations. Right. And it's being received so well.
Oh, I love that so much. Even for people who aren't going to come to you because they feel shame.
Yes.
You're getting the numbers from those folks.
I am. And things that I talk about are things that I may have presented myself in this way to a colleague before. Someone else may be doing it and just not realize it. So when we think about things like incivility, ostracism, social undermining, there's research that ties those three things that are often just like, oh, that's just the way John is. There's research that ties those behaviors to the point of someone taking their life.
How they see their worth.
And so I share stories about how I received that and how that impacted me from a mental health standpoint. And it's really uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's not just uncomfortable for me to share it. It's uncomfortable I'm wondering how the people in the audience, because it's not like you want to call someone out, right? But again, we don't want to think we've been the bully, but maybe we've been the bully.
Right. Unintentionally.
Right? And so I share that to say, after I speak on these topics, I'm just blown away that after the stories I tell, they're like, wow, thank you. That was so impactful. And it's just what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to relate to me. And oh my gosh, did that relate to me more than I would have ever imagined? Things like that.
In so many facets, right? I imagine. Yeah. And so for you, this shift was super meaningful. And it's one that you're going to continue to explore and understand. So what is your hope with these talks? What would you like to see it evolve into for you?
I at the end of the day, I'm trying to save lives, right?
Yes.
But the only way that I can do that is to consistently be on stages.
Yeah.
And to go from one stage to the next. And so many will say, only trying to keynote speech, that's you're not going to be able to sustain it, or it's going to burn you out, or just at this stage of my life where I need to be in front of as many ears possible.
Right.
And that's where the opportunity sits from an association event, right? Yes, there's a value in speaking to 5 people, but gosh, if I can hit 10 stages in a year at 250 plus people in the audience, right? Holy smokes, what an impact that could have.
That's right. And the ripple effect, we know and talk about that often.
Yes.
What industry or group that you haven't been included in yet would you have on your bucket list?
Definitely healthcare.
Okay.
Definitely healthcare.
So
I somewhat bridge that. And so I have this, just from my past life, I somewhat bridge the healthcare space.
You sure do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so healthcare, definitely.
Is there any resistance that you see in this topic being accepted as a keynote at some of these meetings?
100%. Because,
wow.
Yeah. Yep. So because I'm talking about the fact that work is a problem.
Right.
That means we're going to have to turn the finger in if I'm the leader. So what am I doing? That means I have to take ownership, and not a lot of people, want to hold themselves accountable. And again, it's okay. We have I do believe unintentionally, maybe engaged in something or put a lot of demand on a job that didn't need to be there, but maybe there was lack of instruction or communication or whatever. No one really knows how to do this thing called life anyways, right?
And it's
We're all learning.
it changes so quickly, and
Yeah.
the
So
stakes are so high, especially in
yeah.
healthcare.
So I get a lot of resistance on the topic. And I think some of it is also because in the US, just with legal and I think people
There's
are
so
afraid. I think people are afraid, and I respect it, but I don't think that means we put our heads in the sand.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so tell me when you decided to shift away from more of the corporate life, because that's how you and I initially connected. And it was right at the time you were starting to speak, I believe. So tell me what led you to say, okay, I think I'm ready for something different.
So I probably stayed at the company that I was currently with 5 years too long. So I
Okay.
was at this organization for 10 and a half years. And right after I graduated with my PhD, so I got my PhD later in life. And a PhD or any form of learning changes you, whether it's going
Sure.
back to school, right? Whether it's working with an executive coach, therapy, it changes you. You're a different person coming out. And I was just a different person
Beautiful
coming out of my
transformation.
PhD,
Yes,
right? Yes.
it really
My
is.
I just had a different brain and I wanted more, but I've always lived with a scarcity mindset. Financially, I'm like I had mentioned, my husband runs this business, and so I'm the steady paycheck. I'm the healthcare
Yeah,
carrier.
the extra.
Yep, stuff that you're like, okay. And I mean, regardless of where you sit from a political standpoint, the Affordable Care Act was a savior
It was
because
amazing
now
to
we
have
can
that
actually
option.
get access to care without, so like that was really important. The laws had changed, right? So now together we could start thinking through like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to, there's really nothing else left. I don't want to go and teach. All these things, right?
You explored all the options, right?
I explored all the options and I did it with a coach. So then I started working with a coach. COVID hit. I was ready to resign in 2020. And then I thought, well, I'm sure I can learn something from COVID, like let me stay and blah, blah, blah. I don't have to travel anymore, all these things. And after COVID, even then I came out a totally different person.
I think COVID created a lot of clarity for folks,
Yep.
just in terms of what they were willing to give up and
Yeah.
what they weren't anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had also just really outgrown. Like I had mentioned, I had outgrown it 5 years ago, the organization I was with. I mean, I had so outgrown the work and just the community within. I just outgrown it. And
I know. I think we talked about the boredom, and you wanted a bigger challenge.
yep, yep. And so I
I felt that.
resigned. And the best part is that I didn't have a plan. I had nothing lined up. Everyone was like, "What competitor are you going to? What are you?" And I'm like,
Oh, I'm sure.
"I'm going
I
home."
know. And I'm sure people thought, what on earth? Because that's what I think people thought when I did the same.
Yeah, yeah. And so it took me. So that was early 2023, and I was latching on to any like free coaching session or just whatever people were doing, just enough to talk to people and
Right.
just have conversations around who I am, what I can deliver. Do I stay with my consulting life? Do I move on? Anyways, all that to say, it's when you have that aha moment and you realize I realized all the clients I worked with that I loved the most were in the blue collar space.
Oh, that's what it was for you. And it
It
brought
was
you back to your values and the foundation of your family, I'm sure.
Yep, took me back to what I advocate for the most, always the underdog, which to me is the blue collar worker. So that allowed me to shape. I have always been an educator. I've always spoken, and I thought let's lean into this one thing. I believe that mental health is at the root of all of our workplaces. My story goes back to my dad and him wanting to take his life. He did not, but it was all because of work as a business owner. And when you just start to put all that stuff together, it took time, but I still to this day sometimes question myself, right? I mean, that's what we do.
I think it's a constant questioning of, is this
Yeah.
the right thing? Am I making an impact? As
Yeah.
you said, sort of the motivators and measures of success are very different for you now. I feel the same. But yes, the path is certainly not linear.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that and for sharing with others who might be considering things that it's never I rarely find that it's the first thing somebody said, this is what I'm going to do that you stay with. It's such a process of iterating and exploring. And I think many of my guests have said the same. So
Oh, I love that. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Just knowing who you know,
yeah,
connect with and just, yeah, I think we're finally voicing that. And
it's
it's
really
good.
nice, isn't it, to see the people like us out there who we might not have seen in our corporate life. And so we're seeing others and saying, wow, I'm not alone, or I'm not, weird for feeling this way and wanting to do more. So
Yeah.
what types of doubt or fear did you struggle with? Or maybe still?
I was going to say, or still, I was just on a feedback call before we got on this podcast with someone else that was collecting just kind of feedback on with women on where we are today. And I mean, the doubt is there every day.
Yeah.
I wake up with it every single day. I wake up sick to my stomach every single day.
Oh no, but you still know it's the right thing, right? What
I
is it that
still,
tells you, like, this is it though, Dr. Colleen, this is it.
like,
This is where you're meant to be.
as soon as I catch myself straying, I'm like, no, that's not, stay focused. It's because it's the self doubt, right?
Yeah.
In the speaking world, 90% of what you're doing is marketing, sales,
That's so cool.
10% is actually speaking. And so it's the constant no. It's a no, it's a no. It beats you up. I mean, it is not for the faint. It's not for the
Yeah,
faint.
I would say is the no's, the amount of rejection is really tough to handle. I hope that you're able to like remind yourself of the wins when you get the yeses and
Yep.
maybe the plus ones. I'm sure that, hopefully you're connecting with others that want to have you into their organizations or want that at, another event. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that's happening for you.
Yeah, it is. No, I appreciate that. And to your point, I mean that I do. I forget what speaker coach that I work with called it, but it's just a book of positive downloading what people have said through Talkadot in you know that response or the email that comes in or the writing down what someone said to you like running up to you after you're just getting off stage. It's those things that I have to go back and read probably once a week.
Good. I'm
Um
glad you keep them all
yeah,
together. I tell my clients to keep a list. So when
yeah.
you're feeling unsure, go to that list and remember, because there's a lot there if you pull them all together.
Oh my gosh, so much. So much. Yeah.
Well, I think we talk about the tension when we're doing something that's a little bit different. There is more tension associated with it, but it just means that it's important and there is always uncertainty, but I'm so glad you're pushing through and keeping yourself safe, knowing your boundaries. What are some important boundaries you've created for yourself?
So I've always been a really big boundary person. And again, I think a lot of it comes from, I think a lot of it comes from just being the daughter of construction business owners. I don't think you get out of anything alive without boundaries. And so, you know, I put myself first every single day. So I wake up first thing in the morning and I exercise. That has not changed. That I still wake up at 5. My alarm still goes off every day at 5 a.m. If it doesn't, then I feel like I lose me.
Are
Yes,
you
I'm a
still a
runner.
runner?
I
Okay.
am. I'm a little bit on the injured reserve right now, but I
Oh
do, you know,
no.
I still like do strength training and I ride a bike. Like I exercise is how I keep myself mentally safe.
Yeah.
And so even when I left corporate, people would joke with me and say, why do you still wake up at 5? Because that's just, it's quiet. It's dark. I know I'm one of the very few it's just
It's just
solitude
your
for me.
time. It's that
Yeah.
solitude. Yes. And that
Yeah.
becomes even more important as
Yeah.
we age and refine
Yep.
and set our own schedules and our own
Yep.
structure, which is so empowering.
Yep.
But that consistency is still super important for me
It
as
is.
well.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah. And I don't know
absolutely.
if you consider that a boundary, but to me, that is a huge
Totally.
boundary. Never, I mean, that is a hard no for me, even just like from when I'm finished to when I'm going to shower to when I'll be willing to do a first meeting.
No, I love it. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
What advice would you give your younger self or someone else who might be considering shifting gears?
Don't let 5 years pass. Don't let 7 years pass. I know it's going to be so scary. I know you think you're never going to make enough money. Just do it.
Yeah,
Don't
just
just
do
do
it.
it.
There's not
it's
gonna
just do
be.
it. Do it. You'll
Yeah.
figure it out. There's literally no such thing as true stability. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I
That's what I
love
would
that.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, there are things you think you need that you don't need. Obviously, you have basic needs
Yeah.
to account for, and hopefully, those are things that are still available to folks. But yeah, beyond that, there are things that we just don't necessarily need anymore that we thought we did or we've used as coping mechanisms. I have way less pairs of shoes that I used to. I shop way less, but I but
See?
I I
Mhm.
lean into gardening and
Mhm.
other things that bring me joy in a much more mindful way. Okay, so what brings you joy right now? And it doesn't have to be work. It can just be what brings you, Colleen, joy right now.
My my fitness routine is always the same thing. It's just everything to me. Physical activity, being outdoors. My husband and I, we still travel a lot. We go to Spain a
That's
lot.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Why Spain?
Neither one of us studied abroad when we were in college. Just didn't, that just wasn't a thing. And if it was, definitely couldn't afford to do it.
That's
And
right.
so,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Blue collar
definitely
kid.
couldn't
Right.
afford to do it. And because I mean, my public health life of walkability, bicycle, public transportation, that is literally all I want. I don't want to ever get in a car.
Nice.
I hate driving. I never wanted to get my driver's license. And then just, it's just simple. Everything is just simple. The houses are small. We live in a small house here in Atlanta. Like, I love just everything about the European lifestyle is right up my alley. And so,
Simplifying. Yeah.
yeah. And so my husband and I, we just were always like, we really want to live in Europe. At some point in our lives, we want to live in Europe. And so we thought, okay, what language would be a little bit easier for us to learn, even though it's going to be so hard to learn because neither one of us are fluent. And we visited many countries in Europe,
Did you? Okay. I wondered how you
and
chose
we
Spain.
settled on Spain. We've had so many great visits there. And so yeah, Spain. That's how and why.
And I love that you've considered this whole life perspective. It's one of the things I'm trying to bring to my clients as well. Is it's not just about the job and the title and the work that you do. In fact, I held a round table yesterday. I have round folks who are kind of thinking what's next. And somebody beautifully said, I am no longer my job, but I have a job. And I said, that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
Because for so many years, we're ingrained to believe that our career and our worth is associated with our title and our salary. And at this stage in life, I'm very thankful for it. At the same time, I think I'm so happy to be in this stage.
I agree. It's interesting. I think it's really hard, and I love that we live in the U.S. I mean, I feel very fortunate, right? But because of how much travel we do to Spain, it's very hard to have that mindset here in the US. And that's unfortunate. That's what Scott and and it's like the roundtable that you had or the clients that you're working with. It's like sometimes when we say those things out loud, someone else, like probably 8 other people, are going to look at us like we have, 7 heads.
That's
And
right.
so it's really hard to find that commonality in that
Right.
thought process because it just every time we come back home, we're like, oh, we got to get back in the US mindset, yet still try to preserve the mindset that we want to stay in regularly. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
it's that
interesting.
tension for sure. Yeah, it's a push and a pull. But I'm glad that you both recognize what it is about that you love
Mhm,
and how to build that back in
mhm,
and have
mhm.
a frequency of getting back to that
Yeah,
space for you.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I was going to ask you how do you build more balance into your life, but it sounds like that's one of the things that and the exercise is just something that are really important to you. So I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Health is big for me. I mean, I go to bed at 9 o'clock every night.
I go to bed pretty early too.
I mean, don't get me wrong. On Saturday and Sunday, I'll go to bed a little later and wake up a little later. But
Well, you wake up at 5 o'clock. It's
I
okay.
know,
Yeah.
right? Right. By like 9, I'm so exhausted. But yeah, I, I have a speech that I call "Is it selfish or a boundary in disguise?" It's for a whole different audience. I always put myself first, and that's to me how I kind of keep
Keep it all together.
balance.
Yeah.
Even when I'm being made to feel like I'm a bad person for doing that, I really don't waver.
Well, so many things that I'm reading about talk about burnout and how we don't proactively seek out our own well-being. And of course, a lot of your background involves that. So, taking care of your body helps keep you safe and available to do the things that you love and the work that you do. When so much of us, I think what I reflected on after I left was that I was in burnout and I didn't realize it for quite some time,
Yeah.
that I was just at a place where I couldn't do everything and I wasn't setting the right boundaries for myself. So,
Yeah.
yeah, proactive well-being. I would say let's scream that from the rooftops because
Like
it's not
that.
really selfish, but it's allowing us to show up and be who we can while taking care of ourselves before something goes wrong.
Yes, yes. And it allows us to be the best version of ourselves when
That's right.
when we are present, which is
Love
really
that.
important. Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting to the lightning round questions, which is the end. So hopefully these are a little fun. So,
I,
mountains or beach for you? What do you prefer?
can it be an and?
Yes, everybody's saying and. I love it. Yes.
Take me on a hike and then set my butt on the beach like after 3 o'clock.
Oh, I love that. It's so funny. As for me, I would definitely say mountain. I don't need that beach nearby, but I agree with you. If there was a beach, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. Let's hear
Yeah.
the water. I
Yeah.
love listening to water. What's your go-to beverage in the morning?
Well, after I work out, then I have cinnamon spice tea, but always water because I'm going straight to work out.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. And what's a non-negotiable for you now? I think we know, but
Yeah, my fitness routine is just
so
non-negotiable.
important.
And my bedtime routine. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, Amy Poehler would be a big fan of your bedtime routine. I think that's important. But it's important, I think, with the rest that we need and knowing it has been a game changer for me. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
sure.
Good. I'm so glad.
What do you do for fun?
Oh gosh, I
And it can
read.
be super little or,
Yeah,
anything
I
specific.
mean, I read. I love like a psychological thriller.
Really? Okay.
I love to go out to dinner with my husband. We do a ton of date nights. I love to laugh.
I love that. I love going out to dinner too. I love good food. It doesn't have to be fancy, but I would love it to be
No,
fresh. Fresh would be
yes,
great.
yeah.
Okay, so is there a book or podcast that you are in? It's either inspiring you or that you're enjoying?
I tell everybody about the podcast A Little Bit Culty.
Really?
Highly recommend. It
Oh,
is fascinating and not in a way of not in just it's just fascinating and helping us put words to things that we know are out there, especially stuff that women go through.
what?
Like coercive control or just anybody can find themselves in a cult, even a cult of one. And it is so fascinating.
Okay,
So
definitely going to be linked
a
in the
little
show
bit
notes.
culty. Yes.
Okay, a little bit culty. Complete this sentence, which I just love. Now my work feels blank.
Fun.
Oh, I love that. A lot of people are saying fun.
Okay.
I love that. Creative, fun. Yes. And honestly, isn't that really just so cool?
It is.
Yeah,
And it's like that's we should have always been there.
I know.
I always felt that like I would take 70% of it not being fun and like at least 30% of it fun. I used to always, and people are like, well, that's not what work is supposed to be. No, it's actually supposed to be good for our health. I was giving it only 30%.
I know. Well, we were wired to do that, but I really believe that the future generations are going to be much better than we were. And I'm just enjoying watching my children and their friends are just so cool.
Yes.
And yeah, so super excited about the new generations coming up.
Same.
And I am so thankful to have this opportunity to speak with you. Thank you for sharing
Thank you.
your journey and all the adventures you have. And I just look forward to seeing your continued success. And if you haven't checked out Dr. Colleen on LinkedIn, you'll get to see some clips from the speaking that she does and the speaking that she does with her husband, which I think is wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Colleen. Take care.
You too.
Okay. Well, thank you, Colleen. It was so great to have such a great conversation about the importance of understanding the needs of not only our coworkers, but how our leadership can really make a difference in how people experience mental health at work. and that making boundaries for ourselves is so important for our own mental health and well-being, and that proactive well-being is so important. I'm hoping you're hearing things that sound familiar to yourself to know that you're not alone. So thanks again for joining. I will definitely add not only Dr. Colleen's website, LinkedIn information, as well as her podcast recommendation in the show notes. Here's hoping that you lead with authenticity, but also empathy and curiosity. Thanks so much. Please feel free to follow the Rooted Leader podcast wherever you listen to your podcast series.